Hello, Jacob here, with a Minnesota Wild playoff review slash preview slash just overall thoughts on the Minnesota Wild during this postseason run. So, let's go ahead and get into it. Yeah, sorry for not making a recap after Sunday, which I kind of planned on doing, but let's just say there's a little bit too much excitement that happened in town that day. Let's say if you look up train derailment on CNN, well, you'll understand where I'm coming from on there. But again, thankfully, everybody there was fine. Nothing happened other than just some scary, tense moments. But thankfully, it seems like everyone's safe, everyone's back, but yeah, let's just say that was a very interesting time. And of course it had to happen during the playoff game between the Wild and the Knights. Of course it had to happen during that game out of all the games it could have happened to. But no, but in all seriousness though, everything turned out fine. Everyone is okay. There were no injuries, but this is going to take a heckin' long time to clean up. Potentially, I mean, especially if any of that stuff seeps into the soil. But anyway, like I say, if you just look up train derailment, that'll probably be one of the first things. And, well, yeah. Whew. Anyway, back to the game. So the Minnesota Wild take a 1-0 series lead on, ironically enough, an overtime game-winning goal by Joel Eriksson Ek. Let's freaking go, baby! And of course, during the whole train derailment scenario and evacuation and all that stuff, I ended up missing the goal. But, yeah, to say it was a defensive game, that is an understatement. I mean, the final score was 1-0 in overtime. And yet, it did not feel like a 1-0 game. I mean, holy Jesus! Fleury was standing on his head. Talbot, Talbot out-Flurried Fleury. Both goaltenders were on. So what does that mean? Tonight's game is going to be like a 5-4 or 6-5 game. Because again, Vegas. Like when I did the previews against Vegas earlier this year, that's the way it went. It was either like a 1-0, 2-1 game or like a 7-6, 8-7 type of game. I mean, there was no in between. It was either all goals or all goalie defense oriented hockey. It's like, wow. And to be fair, it's literally the same way. But also, boy, I'll tell you what, though. The 2021 playoffs have been nothing short of amazing. Even the Calgary-Vancouver series, that's still technically the regular season, it's had some pretty decent games itself. So, all things considered, the playoffs have been really good recently. So, I'm excited for that. But yeah, anyway, going into tonight's game, again, I just kind of hope we have basically the same mentality. Because the thing with the Wild I've noticed is, unlike teams in the past, they can kind of keep up with whatever's going on the ice. If it's a physical game, they're not afraid to throw their weight around. If it's a mental game, like a speed game, they got a few horses that can get her done. As long as Dumba and Suter don't turn the frickin' puck over. There's a few times, especially towards the end of the regular season there, where I was just looking at that like, what are you doing? But anyway, yeah, let's just say, unfortunately, Dumba's done that a few more times than I would like to admit. Suter has also done that a few more times than I'd like to admit. So yeah, the biggest thing is we have to keep this up here. Keep grinding, keep going. Whatever the game is doing, do it. Because that's the thing with the Wild is, if they're if they can impose their game, whatever their game is that night, typically it bodes well for us. But the second we go right into Vegas's game, or even worse, Colorado during the regular season, we got our asses handed to us. By the way, did I mention that in typical Wild fashion, we were outshot badly? And I mean badly. At one point, it was like 15-7 or like 20 to. They basically like doubled our shots on goal. And by the end of the day, Talbot stopped 42 attempts. Which, by the way, Cam Talbot. Once I knew that our goaltending wasn't going to be the Achilles heel this year, then I'm like, okay, now we actually have something here. Now we have a legit force on this team this year. And I'm all for it. All for it. So, yeah. I mean, just kind of wrapping this all up. And then hopefully tonight I'll be able to actually do a live Raw recap again. So, but yeah, I mean, all things considered, 1-0 series lead going into Game 2 tonight, 9 o'clock my time, on NBCSN. I mean, it'd be nice to win this series, but I already... I'm like, I've been watching too much sports, not even just hockey, but too much sports to know that 1-0 is great, 2-0 is great, 3-0 is great, but no lead is safe until you win the series. I've seen plenty of times where you think you have the series won, and then you lose. So, they just have to keep their eye on the prize at this point. So... But yeah, I mean, it pretty much wraps it all up, all things considered. It's just, the Wild have been doing what they've been doing most of the year. And have been pretty good at it, all things considered. Now, like I say, I would like to see our power play improve a little bit more, and be nice if our defensemen wouldn't turn the puck over all the fucking time either, but, I mean, it hasn't cost us too badly. I mean, there's a few times where, yeah. Turnovers will kill you. And the odd man rushes, well, yeah. I don't have to say anything. Pretty much any hockey fan knows about those, so. But yeah, I mean, here's to hopefully another victory tonight. You know, let's keep the pressure on, boys, because, again, we have a good record against Vegas. And Marc-Andre Fleury, surprisingly. And I think we're like one of the few teams that Fleury actually struggles with in his overall career. So, I mean, we'll see. So, let's go Wild. And, yeah, like I say, I'll be here hopefully after the game to do a little recap. As long as, well, we don't get evacuated out of town due to another reason. Because, yeah, let's just say that was a fun Sunday. Not! But, again, like I say, though, everything was fine. Everything is moving in the right direction now. So, until we meet again, this is Jacob. Have a good day.